But the first thing that we have to look at as you turn off your phone's volume is the NXT call-ups. All of them. Well, except for Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa because they aren't called up anymore, presumably. But what we're going to focus on are the ones that have been on Raw and SmackDown because, quite frankly, I think it's a pointless exercise to say these people are going to get called up from NXT. Who will they be? Where will they be? Because I'm not predicting Heavy Machinery would get called up. I'm not predicting Lacey Evans would have got called up. So we're not even going to bother with people that are in NXT right now. We'll talk about the EC3s, the Heavy Machineries, the Lacey Evans. To me, I think Heavy Machinery is sticking around on Raw. If I'm EC3, I want to end up on whatever brand that Daniel Bryan is on.
Yes. I agree with both those things. I feel like it doesn't really matter where Heavy Machinery winds up. They're going to be in the middle of the pack in the tag team division. But EC3, wherever he has license to be on television, I mean, this thing with Drake Maverick, I think can only help because certainly there's nowhere to go but up. But yeah, him possibly getting a chance to work with some Daniel Bryan would be best for him. Nikki Cross, I mean, I always thought she'd wind up wherever Sanity was, but I hope that's not the case because Sanity is in limbo. Like, who knows what the hell is up with Sanity? So I'd like Nikki Cross to be wherever she can be part of some kind of title picture because she absolutely deserves it. She's been woefully underused. And yeah, I mean, Ricochet and Black, I hope wind up on different brands. I don't need to see them together anymore.
Yeah, they got to split up, man. Ricochet, I think, would be better suited on whatever brand they are sharing 205 Live talent with. That way, if he makes a cameo on there ever, it makes a little bit more sense. Aleister Black, I would suggest probably SmackDown, assuming Zelina is on that brand. Let's not split up the married couples.
But it's Vince, so he doesn't give a damn either way.
They've been a lot better about that.
They have been in recent years. They've been better, but yeah.
Any other thoughts on people that you think will move that need the move? I thought that Finn Balor needed the move. I think he is stale on Raw. I wouldn't mind seeing Raw and U.S. champ and Intercontinental champ switch.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that either. That'd be fine with me. I don't know. I feel like I think Braun needs a move. Gosh, this is so difficult because like I'm trying to think of like Raw is 3 hours and there's more time for people, but Raw is also much worse. So I don't know what if it's better or worse when people wind up on Raw over SmackDown. I feel like SmackDown's the show that I enjoy the most. So certain people that I feel like are dead weight on SmackDown being on Raw might be better for everybody. I feel like Randy Orton could easily move over to Raw and that wouldn't be a problem. Like I said, there are a lot of people I think that just need to be on different brands because they fill the same role. Like I don't think that you need, like I said, you don't need an Ali and a Ricochet on the same brand. That's just not going to work out right. I feel like you don't need a Lars and a Braun on the same brand. I feel like keeping those guys apart would be really good for Lars because if you put Lars in the ring with Braun, Braun's got 3-4 inches on him. It's not going to look good for Lars.
What I don't want to see them do is switch like 15 people a piece because that really defeats the purpose.
Right.
If you're switching 30 people, I remember the draft used to have like 40, 45 names. And I'm like, what's the point, man?
Right. Yeah.
You're barely, it's not really a shakeup. It's like a little dab of something.
Then the other thing is that I desperately need the Revival and the Usos to be on the same brand, whatever that brand is. If the Usos are moving to Raw, Revival's got to stay. If the Usos are staying on SmackDown, Revival's got to go. I need those guys to work together.
I'm ready to see the Usos on Raw, Usos and Sanity on Raw.
Yeah.
The Sanity have been just abused beyond recognition on SmackDown and not
Sanity would be so needed on Raw. They'd be actual. I feel like they'd actually get matches on TV and be near the top of the tag division. There's nobody else they're better than the Ascension, for God's sake.
I'd like to see Carmella and Ember Moon switch spots.
Yeah.
Carmella has been on SmackDown since the beginning. Ember Moon has been relegated to just that, hey, she's here sometimes thing. I don't want to see the Riot Squad and Absolution trade again. Like, what's the point there?
Yeah.
But as far as Raw and SmackDown, it's like, man, you're really limited in who you can change for the women's divisions. You need to form another tag team on SmackDown. That's for damn sure.
Yes.
Unless Sonya and Mandy are sticking together. But when you're looking at things, Naomi, that could be another one. If the Usos are going to Raw, send Naomi to Raw.
Yeah.
And you could probably send somebody else back the other way, whether, I don't know, Natalya, Mickie James. That'd be fine.
I mean, I mean, not that I really care to see that, but I mean, like, I'd be fine with Nia switching to SmackDown.
She's in a tag team though, pretty much. So
then bring them both. You know, like
yeah. What's the point?
I mean, why not? I mean, I don't care. I mean, that's fine. Also, form a tag team. Apparently, Ember and Naomi are best friends. You know how Vince loves forming tag teams based on that. So if they were to get to put together, I could absolutely see it. Already, Ember's got colors in her hair. It makes sense. You could do something fun there. Fine, but I think they'd be really fun to watch together. They could be cool tag team. Have them do that.
If you moved Andrade to Raw, I think that would help him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's in that position too. But if you move him, you're probably moving Zelina. You're probably moving Aleister Black because of his marriage to Zelina.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Aiden English is still listed on the roster. He hasn't wrestled in like months.
Yeah.
Or if you move the Colognes, like, what are you doing? What's the point? They'll show up, attack somebody, and do nothing.
There's going to be, like, during the Soup Shake, the first person moving from Raw to SmackDown is Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
And we're like, why? Who cares? It doesn't, I don't know. Will that help him? Will it help SmackDown? I don't know. But there will absolutely be people that'll get moved with fanfare for some reason where we're just going to go, why? Why?
I want Balor on the same brand as Anderson and Gallows. I just want it. I don't care if it's for a few months. Use them to get him over. He's got no personality outside of the paint.
Yeah.
That we can see. Ross Gold says Roman and the Usos together for the Roman Empire. Would love that.
Sure.
We've been begging for that.
Yeah.
Somebody says probably moving Charlotte too. Whatever brand that Becky Lynch is not the champion of first is the brand that Charlotte needs to be on.
Yeah.
Charlotte needs to anchor a division. It needs to be Becky Lynch on one side, Charlotte on the other.
Yes.
And then you build up people around them.
Absolutely.
As we look up and down this, Samoa Joe, I could see him changing if they switch United States champ, Intercontinental champ.
Yeah.
And wouldn't hate that at all. Wouldn't be opposed to it, although he floundered on Raw as a result. R-Truth, I think he's a good fit for SmackDown and filling those gaps in like a minute or two where you can't do that on Raw necessarily. Kevin Owens, I don't think they would bring him back on SmackDown just to move him to Raw.
Right.
Sami Zayn, where do you see him landing?
I see. That was one of the things I was wondering about Kevin Owens just being indiscriminate with stunners and stuff. That idea. I mean, I feel like he and Sami Zayn are inextricably linked. I don't know if it's good, but I feel like they're going to wind up on the same brand. I still think there's potential for them to do a thing with Daniel Bryan. Like, before we got injured and we got moved to Raw, we told you this was who you were supposed to be, and you're welcome. Like, I felt like there's something there. I'm fine with Kevin Owens staying babyface. I think that's also cool. But I feel like Kevin Owens definitely stays on SmackDown. Daniel Bryan is a guy now who doesn't have a title. Does he go to Raw? Raw being the premier show, like having Daniel Bryan there sets up some things.
So I think you got to have Brian and Zayn on different shows unless they are like
unless they're
act.
together. Exactly.
Unless they're an act. Yeah.
Unless they're an act, unless they're together, you can't have two separate guys being like, all you people don't understand.
How about Harper? Do they try again to put him with Bray?
Yes, of course they do, because they're short-sighted and stupid.
And if they do, is that who we see up against Daniel Bryan and Rowan? Because there would be, there could be a good story to that.
Yes, yeah, there could be a good story. We shouldn't count our chickens or buzzards before they hatch. Whenever Bray comes back, I expect they'll put Harper with him. I thought with him being so long, this would be a great thing for a brand refresh. Have him come back, have the beard trimmed, a different hairstyle. Just let him be a different person. Then he's not with the Wyatts. Then he doesn't have to be that guy anymore, wrestling in the dirty, a wife beater tank top. I'm fine with him, going back with Bray, I guess. But I always thought he was going to be the third member of the Daniel Bryan faction. That's what it felt like was obvious to me. But yeah, I just want to see Luke Harper back on my television. I think he's an incredibly talented dude.
Think they move Elias? Do you? Rather, as opposed to me sounding like I'm making a declarative statement.
No.
I think he's a perfect fit for Raw.
I think Raw is 3 hours. You can do like in the middle of the second hour, ladies and gentlemen, Elias, and have him kill 6 minutes. You can't do that on SmackDown. SmackDown's chock-a-block full of stuff. You can't just add a musical act in the middle of it.
Brood and Gable, I think, are too effective of a top-level tag team for them to move, because I think there needs to be a couple of tag teams that just move from SmackDown to Raw. Yeah. I don't think that maybe a low-level team needs to move from Raw to SmackDown, but then again, I get the feeling that we're going to see a revival for Usos swap, and they'll be on opposite brands. Yeah, because you had them lose a rematch too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what are you I don't know which one of them is injured, but half of AOP has been injured. Is that guy close to coming back? Because that's a team that, if they were whole, I could see being moved across brands as well.
We also have the likes of Jinder Mahal. Now, here's my take on Jinder Mahal. Which brand benefits the most from having people beat a guy who used to be WWE champion? Now, I feel like they would bring him in just so he could say, I'm back on the brand that I dominated for 6 months as WWE champion. And then somebody beats him up.
Yeah, if he were to go back to SmackDown, that's absolutely the angle you play. I'm also fine with him and the Singh brothers losing to the Lucha House Party every Monday on Main Event.
Baron Corbin, I think SmackDown would benefit him greatly. Shorter matches, shorter segments.
Yeah, I mean, and use this as an opportunity to redo his character. There's no reason why, if he's on SmackDown, you have to announce him as the former Raw general manager. It doesn't matter now. He's on a different brand. Like, allow him to be something other than this thing that he's not anymore.
Soup Shake next week. We're going to have all your coverage. Reminder, guys, Listen Your Boy Wednesday moves to 6 p.m. Eastern this week. Tune in. Tap the bell for notifications.